All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. I'm actually curious how the video stream looks because I'm trying out a new camera. And also, I found the zoom setting that should allow me to stream in 1080p, but it's still not streaming in 1080p. So I don't know what's up with that because I did activate it. So that's going to be a zoom issue. I was hoping that this would be in 1080p because I now am paying for the advanced version of Zoom that allows me to do that, and yet Zoom still doesn't do it. All right, so the audio should be good. I'm also using the lavalier of the wireless. I'm still using the wireless Rhodes, but now I'm trying it out with the lavalier, so the audio should be clear. Kind of pissed about this stream not being in 1080p, but I'll need to maybe contact Zoom support about that or something. Okay. Yeah, people liking the quality, but they're still saying that it's 720. Yeah, I really want it in 1080. I do. No, you can see what it is if you click the wheel on YouTube. Anyway, let's go to the charts. All right, so here we are on the weekly chart. And while it looked very, very promising that we were finally going to have that weekly close above that $60,000 area, setting us up for a green star breakout candle this week, well, Elon Musk goes on SNL, and I didn't watch it, but I heard all about it. And here we are. So, yeah, Dogecoin definitely crashed. We'll glance at that chart later. And the good news is we are still inside the triangle, and we are still holding the 7-period moving average. Our last candle had the entire body of the candle above the moving average, and this candle has already started off being the entire candle, the entire range of the candle is in is above the 7-period moving average. The lucid SARs are slowly coming down, very slowly, and hopefully next week's is going to be a little bit lower, and it will be easier to break. And all of that creates a very bullish environment. This week is going to be very likely we're going to get our green one on the MRI indicator, which sets us up for the breakout next week. In a way, I would rather have the breakout next week. People are continuing to get very, very pissed at the fact that Bitcoin has not gone up while all of the scam coins have gone up. And as people get more and more frustrated, they exit Bitcoin for nonsense. I saw a tweet from Raoul Pal this morning saying that a lot of his friends and hedge funds are exiting Bitcoin and going into Ethereum. Great. This is how hedge funds die because they invest in the wrong products. A lot of people think that hedge funds like print money. They always make money. I used to work in the hedge fund space. The majority of hedge funds fail. The probability of a hedge fund succeeding is about the same as your local business succeeding or a restaurant succeeding. Yes, there's a lot of restaurants, but most of them fail, and they fail relatively quickly. So this is why very few hedge funds have a reputation to be around over 10 years because a lot of them do not perform and they have to shut down. So don't go by what hedge funds do. There's a lot of hedge funds. Just because one hedge fund's making money doesn't mean they all are. Okay, here's the daily chart. The last time we looked at it, we opened up the oscillators. And as you can see, oh, you know what? Let's go back to the weekly chart and look at the oscillators. The MACD remains bearish. The CMF is trending bearish. And the RSI is still, no, it's trending bearish as well. So the weekly metrics are not very good for the bullish case for Bitcoin, but I like the price action. Okay, so Now we're looking at the daily chart. Let's go through the oscillators first. The MACD is bullish. The RSI is bullish. The CMF is neutral to me, slightly leaning bullish. And the funding rate is leaning a little too much bullish. So that's unfortunate. I'd rather have this, you know, in the bearish range. So that's not ideal. Let's look at the price action. We have broken above the prior swing high. We have made a new swing high, and we made a new closing high on this run-up. This makes me bullish on the daily chart with the run-up, but the weekly is still in neutral mode. So I would not be surprised if we continue to consolidate. At this point, the line to keep an eye on is the low of the candles about 5 or 7 days ago. This line is at $53,200. So as long as we stay above 53,000, maybe even 54, I would remain bullish. We have to maintain closings above both of these moving averages. Once we get down near the vicinity of 53,000, I'm going to start to get, again, a little bit concerned, but here's the good news. The good news is that you have your really good support of the 128-day moving average. And the 128-day moving average has now gone far enough above the prior swing lows. So that means if we crash past this level of support of 53,000, we have support above 50,000, which means we should not have a double bottom. And this already acted as support. The MRI support line already acted as support. I don't want to see this line act as support again. If this line has to play support again, it will probably break down, and then we go significantly lower to where my red line is of 40,000. I am no longer looking for a $40,000 pullback before 70,000. I now think 70,000 before 40. Do I think 40,000 is still possible? The answer is yes. After we reach a top somewhere between 70 and 90,000, I envision a pretty big catastrophe. I don't know what would cause it, but we never properly had a real correction. This correction can technically go as far as 20,000 because we never properly back tested to 20,000. 12 is a little too low, but if I zoom out enough to the 2017 high, we never back tested that. Now, Bitcoin has now established, for me personally, Bitcoin has established a well enough history to where it tends to pull back to approximately double its prior swing high. So Bitcoin initially rallied in 2017. Bitcoin initially, not 2017. Bitcoin initially rallied in 2011 to 30,000. It then crashed in 2013 to approximately like 45 to 55, depending on where your exchange is. So it crashed to approximately double its prior, high from years earlier. The same exact thing happened after 2017. When we crashed in 2017, we didn't go all the way down to the $1,200–$1,500 area like I thought we could. We fell to the $3,000 area, which once again was double the price of the all-time high in the prior bull cycle. Our current prior bull cycle is 20,000. So just based on that short history alone, I'm okay with Bitcoin crashing down to double the price of the prior swing high because of the halving and all these other reasons, and not that many Bitcoin to go around. Not 30,000 in 2011. Sorry, $30 in 2011. I keep thinking of Bitcoin in thousands. $30 in 2011. So, and this bodes well with that minor profitability chart. We haven't looked at it in a while, but those of you that remember the minor profitability chart. A crash down to 2x the price of the prior cycle's high is reasonable, but that crash has to happen after, you know, a significant run up, and this is not a significant enough run up. I would think 75,000 is a significant enough run up. If we can make it to 150, that's even better. Okay, so that's what I will be looking at eventually, but I do not think this will happen until we go high enough above. So right now I am leaning bullish. We just need the weekly chart to confirm our daily views. And I am still remain bullish on a daily chart, but this consolidation can last another week. The hourly chart, I really wanted to do a video on this particular hour. Lots of good things going on right here, and I am actually bullish literally right now this hour. Should have gone to the hourly chart 10 minutes ago. That would have been great. Look at the perfect bounce off the MRI support line 10 minutes ago. We have bounced off of this price. What was the price there? That looks like 57,300. Let me go to the 10-minute chart. Yep, 10 minutes ago, we hit 57,300. We have rallied right off of that. This is a 1 hour MRI buy, and you can see right here how useful the hourly MRI is. Look at this beautiful sell right here on the MRI, on the hourly chart. This took place at midnight, East Coast US time. So those that were awake after their Mother's Day celebration had a beautiful area to potentially take their profit. I now see this buying opportunity no different than this selling opportunity. Will it get us above the swing high? No one knows. But right now, this looks great to me. Not every trade is going to work, of course. And I would be comfortable going long right here on this hourly scale and setting a stop loss, you know, just below this moving average. And we'll see how that goes. We're going to take a look at the stock market real quick. I'm really curious. So we reached this line here. So this week is a no trade zone for me. This is the week after a weekly MRI buy. This is not a bearish candle. This is looking like a doji. So let's see if the stock market does reverse here and take Bitcoin down with it. But right now, I have to trust the MRI that the market is going to turn around sometime on this candle or the candle after. So keep your leverage low, of course. I'm not a high leverage trader when it comes to crypto stuff. But yeah, I will trust the MRI, and I'll know exactly when I'm wrong. I'm wrong either when I get a red star candle going down, if I have that functionality turned on, which I might not. But basically, if this thing still goes down 2 hours from now, I would be taking my stop loss. But right now, just like this MRI, I mean, who would want to short this candle? You know, look, you are reaching its new all-time high on an hourly scale this month. This month has been like a slow bleed upwards, and then boom, the MRI comes, tanks you down. Similar thing happened here, but not to the same extent after a big run up. Now we're having a big drop. I do want to see this low hold. I don't want to see us going lower than this low. So where would my stop loss be? Well, you have a couple of choices here. You can go very conservative with a stop loss just below the swing low, but I would never do that because this is the current candle. You could also go right below the moving average. I'm not even sure which moving average this is because I flip around time frames, but we can look. That's the 200 period moving average on the hourly. The safest stop loss is, of course, the ultimate swing low of the last, 72 hours for now. And then once this high is broken in subsequent candles, you can then go ahead and raise your stop loss to the low of those candles, getting ready to raise that stop loss to break even once you go above, say, these moving averages at 58.3. So I would love to take a look at this candle on tomorrow's video because I think it would be very, very interesting. But right now, you still have more than half this candle to go. So no one has to rush into this trade, but this is an MRI buy opportunity on the 1 hour chart. We also keep an eye on the 4 hour chart. The 4 hour chart is probably bearish, but you do have your moving average support, but you're getting close to a double low on the close. Oh boy, another MRI top right here on the hourly chart. Look at the MRI buy on the 4 hour chart here. So this is why I'm confident in that 1 hour MRI, but the 1 hour is obviously not as strong as the 4 hour. No. I see your question, not me. So let's go back to the hourly chart. This MRI support line was not created by current candle. This MRI support line has existed since this hour. This is the candle that created this MRI support line. Okay, this MRI support line is the lowest point of this candle, because this candle kicked off the MRI trend. Okay, we're just not able to, well, there's no need to draw it here, because if the MRI doesn't complete, then this never appears. This MRI support line appeared the day this candle closed, and it was around this entire time. Had I done this video 4 hours ago, the MRI support would have been there. This is the candle. After the completion of this candle, this number shows up. Well, actually, it shows up during the candle, but it remains after the completion of the candle, because it can disappear. If this MRI doesn't hold in a certain way, this can disappear after the candle closes. And then none of them exist. Right, this is not a very bullish candle. So I wouldn't rush right now, but I would be watching. I will be watching, and if I see strength in the second half of this hour, which I'm not going to be with you on the podcast for, I'd consider getting in. So speaking of GBTC, the premium is still a disaster, and it's not going anywhere. I still have not added to my GBTC position, making it 100% investment in Bitcoin in my portfolio, but that's coming. It's coming very soon. All right, I got moderators posting me a couple of questions. Yes, the hedge fund Willie Woo was advising did have to close. That is correct. Because hedge funds is running a hedge fund is very risky, and investing in a hedge fund is very risky. What moving averages do you use on a 4 hour and 1 hour chart? I think I pulled those up. I checked that was the 200. So let's see. I'm using 20, 50, 200, the traditional standard moving averages. Gold. Well, gold continues to rally, and I continue to be bullish on gold. As I've been saying for the last 3 months, this is the low for the year, and I remain thinking that's the low for the year. The question is, will we reach a new high this year? And I think we can. Let's get the MRI up on the daily chart. We still have several days to go before it pops. And what about the weekly chart? Uh-oh. Next week. It's going to be interesting. You're going to have a daily MRI top and a weekly MRI top. Look at this weekly MRI top. I need to, hold on, I need to put some settings in here. I need display higher time frame detail count. Nope, that's not what I need. I need I do need that. Higher time frame detail count. And I also want multi-time frame. That's good. Okay, so if you go back to the daily chart, I can now see that the weekly chart is almost at an MRI top. It's coming next week. So we got, a few more days for a daily MRI top. So the top in gold's coming. I think the top in gold is coming sometime later this week. And then you're going to have a daily MRI top, and then the weekly MRI top comes 2 days later. It's going to be interesting. That's right. We did clear a 1 set per byte transaction, something we weren't sure was going to happen. But boom, we started clearing 1 sat per byte transactions. That's beautiful. This weekend, how many blocks did we go down to? I saw 40 blocks yesterday. We must have gone down to about 35 blocks to start clearing 1 set per byte transactions. It's Monday, so the mempool has started to pick up, but transactions that have been in the mempool all year finally started clearing. That's awesome. Bitcoin dominance, yes, I wanted to look at that. Yeah, you know what? Let's glance at Dogecoin real quick. The daily Dogecoin is not looking very good. It looked like it was going to rally yesterday when Elon announced that they're going to have like a moon rocket with it involved or something. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I just pay attention to the charts. Dogecoin not looking very hot. Sorry, guys. Ethereum, on the other hand, is on fire, and Ethereum chart is now once again bullish. It did not reverse on the samurai double top. This is, I never go long on this candle, but this candle can get you into a long trade. Green star candle following the MRI top. Would I have done it? Probably not, because this candle was just so massive. So that would have kept me out of it. But if I had a bot, I probably would not have, measured the size of this candle. So the bot would have gotten me long, and it would have been a decent trade, really good trade actually. This one is a little bit different. See, this green star would have shown up right here at the break of that candle's high, because that's my rule for the green star. You have lots of those that know how to trade this thing. There's lots of different rules you can set. Still need to add more functionality here. So this would have been a much cleaner trade by going long, because this one said to go long right there at 3,600 based on MRI. That's your continuation after the top. The versus Bitcoin chart was not as clean, because this one didn't tell you to go long until like the next day. So it depended on how you were trading it. Okay. And if you're long Ethereum, I see no reason to exit that trade. It's a new all-time high. Both charts are bullish versus Bitcoin and versus the dollar. And the weekly charts are, oh, watch out. Next week is a weekly MRI top versus the dollar. That could tank Ethereum. So you want to keep an eye on that. And on the Bitcoin side of the equation, you still have a couple of weeks to go. And I'm not sure what this blue line represents, but I'll just leave it there as is. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what that line represents. Maybe on a daily chart it makes sense, or a monthly chart it makes sense. On a monthly chart it makes sense. On a monthly chart, it's the monthly closing highs. So we are looking at weekly tops in Ethereum, dollar version next week, Bitcoin version the week after. But today, I don't see a reason to exit your Ethereum long. Oh, I want to look at Tesla, because Tesla had an interesting MRI thing last week. Type in MRI, I'm retarded. All right, so here is the MRI buy on Tesla, followed by a bad day. So there's two things here if you're an MRI trader. Obviously, this was a beautiful MRI buy right off this candle, along with the weekly. Now, remember that I mentioned that the weekly is not in line with the daily. So this was going to be a more dangerous trade to go long than this one. This one was in line with the weekly chart. This one was opposite the weekly chart because the weekly Tesla chart was calling for more downside. However, on a daily chart, you have another green arrow right there. So there's still a chance. So had I entered the long trade on Tesla, I would still be patient, but I would exit tomorrow if it's another down day. Would I buy in today? The answer is probably not. I wouldn't buy in today. I would wait for tomorrow to give me strength. Would I short Tesla today? The answer is no, I would not. But if tomorrow we are breaking today's low, I would consider shorting Tesla because that would tell me two things. It would tell me that this MRI buy was more like this MRI buy, that the market accelerated. And by the way, this green arrow is probably coming from this MRI buy. Yes, I'm pretty sure that it is, and I can test that by dropping everything else, extension B instead of all, and no, I'm sorry. That can be all. Extension details should be only extension B. And now this would take me down further backwards. And yeah, and if I drop the MRI numbers, I would get more B numbers going back. Yep, and I was right. So this kicked off the extensions, and we finally bottomed from this MRI buy because sometimes when it doesn't reverse, creates these extensions that give you other buying opportunities. But this one created another set, and that set has not yet completed. So we will see how that goes. In any case, I can make a weak bullish case for Tesla, but I would not be entering any trades now. I would either be exiting my long trades from Friday, later today or tomorrow, or I would rather consider shorting if it started to crash tomorrow. But there's still a buy opportunity there if we rally hard tomorrow. So we're gonna try to keep an eye on Tesla going forward. That's it, guys. This is the kind of stuff I'm gonna be doing in private Zoom, which will launch very, very soon. Okay. More details on that coming up. More details coming up. I'm gonna have the website up and show you what it does. People are asking about the difference in the MRI bottoms in gold. That seems like a good question. Let me see. So here's gold. The dates would have been better instead of values. The 1750 MRI bottom, is that it? No, that's the 1680 MRI bottom versus the 1750 MRI bottom. Where was the 1750 MRI bottom? Is that this? No, that's not that. I don't see an MRI bottom at 1750 unless it's, no. This one? No, not an MRI bottom either. So sorry, I can't answer that question. That's an MRI top. There's a 1750 MRI top. That's a 1750 MRI bottom. Very different. So that's an MRI buy. That's an MRI sell. Well, I shouldn't call them buy and sell because they're not always buys and sells. So MRI bottom, MRI top is the best terminology to use here. Well, they're different because they're like completely opposites of each other. Oh, Bitcoin dominance. Damn, we're going to talk about that. I have a chart of Bitcoin dominance. Last thing, then we're going to end the stream. Low chart layout, BTC.D. Yes. All right, so if you look at Bitcoin dominance, you see an MRI buy right there. We can also turn this into candlestick charts. This is the weekly version. Let's go to the candlestick charts. So on the candlestick charts, Willie mentioned this in his newsletter too. On the candlestick chart, maybe it's finally time for Bitcoin to rise against the shitcoins. And I wouldn't be surprised. These MRIs on Bitcoin dominance haven't been all that great. This one didn't materialize. This one did okay. This one did great. This one didn't materialize, but it went right into a double bottom, double MRI. This was also a monthly MRI bottom. Wow, look at that. So this was a monthly MRI bottom along with 2 weeklies. And right now we're setting up another weekly MRI bottom. What about the daily? The daily is probably a few days away. Daily is probably a few days away from an MRI bottom. We can turn on details and see. Yep, 2 days away. So this week, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice to finally get Bitcoin rallying versus the shitcoins. I'm pretty optimistic here. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, the XAU USD. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Like I missed, I should have been checking the XAU, like the spot price. I think I can just check gold, and it gives me the spot of gold right there. That's pretty much the XAU. And I remember there was a while ago, there was an MRI bottom or an MRI top that I totally missed. This one here, probably. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. This was a beautiful MRI buy on the gold spot price, but it wasn't there on the gold future. And I mean, it's not really my job to, this isn't trading advice, but let's just say if I knew this was an MRI buy on gold spot, I would not have been as bearish on this candle that I was at the time. I really thought this had a few more days to go down, and I was very surprised why we rallied so freaking hard. And then after like a day or two, I was reminded, or I was informed, that the gold spot price nailed it perfectly on that day, on November 30th, versus the future price. So when a market has multiple sources of data, this is a tough indicator to use, because like your moving averages will be pretty much the same. But this indicator, it's really precise on the dollar value of an asset. So when you have multiple sources of data, it could be pretty rough to I have to remember to keep an eye on all of them and then make the best combined decision, or at least be more aware of it. I would have been a lot more cautious on this candle had I known at the time that there was an MRI buy on the gold spot price versus the gold future price. I tend to look at the gold future price because I used to be a gold futures trader. So it's the price I'm very familiar with. We looked at USD the other day. I'll glance at it one more time real quick. I am, of course, bearish the dollar versus other fiat currencies and everything else. I'm bearish the US dollar versus horse manure. Very bearish US dollar versus lumber. Should probably check lumber. Yeah, no, this is bearish to me on every scale. Commodities. I should have lumber here somewhere. Is it LBS? Is that lumber? Yep, that's lumber. Jesus. Look at that. That's a 4th consecutive MRI daily buy. Maybe wood's gonna get cheap. Look at that. Look at that 3rd consecutive MRI sorry, MRI sell. Look at the third consecutive MRI sell and what it did to the market back in August, September of 2020. Though this would have been tricky because it kind of rallied right off the MRI support line, and then I have no idea what the hell happened here. Like big forest fire or something. I don't know why this falls like that. Maybe it's maybe I need like an ETF. Maybe this is just futures rebalancing. March 10th, Jan 13th, September 11th. Yeah, this looks like futures rebalancing. Yeah, it's really rough to trade this stuff, but it's fun to look at. I'm gonna take this top seriously. The weekly is coming in a couple of weeks. Maybe there'll be a fifth. All right, that's it, guys. I know you have a lot of questions. This is why there's going to be a private Zoom session where we can like dive deep into this kind of stuff. So if you need a free tutorial on trading, check out Learn Trading at tomvays.com. If you need something a little bit more advanced and you're willing to pay a little bit of money, I recommend the combination of technical analysis and risk management for $750. Otherwise, they're $500 each. Really advanced people can take the option webinar. And of course, the MRI product, which I continue to use religiously. So check that out. This still has a one-time fee for its use for now, but we'll see what happens in the future. All right, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you all on the next one. Bye, guys. Wish I had time for a political channel. Oh, testing new camera, by the way. I'm testing out a new camera, and this is supposed to stream in 1080p, and I'm really pissed that it wasn't. Zoom removed the 1080p option. No. They have the 1080p option. Oh, I forgot to turn my lights on. Zoom has the 1080p option for like enterprise clients. And I am now an enterprise client. It's like a high-end subscription. And I set the thing to stream in 1080. So I don't know. I can't explain why it's not streaming in 1080. So I don't know. Maybe it takes a few days. I have no idea. But, yeah, I'm kind of pissed about that. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted an upgraded Zoom subscription. Also, I can now host up to 500 people in a. This thing is like not straight. There we go. Also, I can host like up to 500 people in a private Zoom session. Oh, my camera is also now lower. So now when I look down, I'm actually more looking into the camera. So there you go. All right. All right, cool. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Haven't used that image of DC in a while. One of my favorite backgrounds to use. I, of course, tweeted these out a while ago. We got to make a few more. I'll tweet those out as well. Change to OBS. One day, maybe I will. OBS is just really complicated. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, and see you all on the next one.